Hello, everyone, and welcome into CrushTheStreet.com. I'm Kenneth Amaduri, and we got a timely guest on the show once again. It was very timely the first time he came on, and he said, hold on to your Bitcoin, the strong hand. Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister himself, the Disrupt Meister. Adam, let's have a conversation here. Post $20,000 Bitcoin world, how are things going with you?
Wow. Well, the first thing I want to say is I like how you call this a post 20,000 Bitcoin world, because it isn't. It really isn't, because it's just a temporary trough. There's so many people out there that think, yeah, it'll never get back to 20,000 again. Dude, I remember in 2013, 2014, 2015, when they were saying it would never go back to 1,000 again. And so we're going to look back on this and we're going to laugh at that term, post 20,000 Bitcoin world. That's how my life is going right now. I am as enthusiastic as ever because I got the long-term view. I remember when they said it would not go back to 1,000, and now we laugh at that.
I totally with you, man, and that is really exciting. And again, I want to thank you for the influence that you've had here at Crush the Street, and coming on at very timely in 2017 and just talking to us about the importance of Bitcoin. I think we chatted our first time. Bitcoin was around $800. It had pulled back from $1,000, right? In the correction phase, in the crash phase of $1,000 to $800, right? And then it's history from there. So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm curious, how are things going with you in, again, this post $20,000 Bitcoin world? You mentioned some views are down. What are you doing nowadays? Has the excitement been there still, even though we've seen such a correction? And I know it's short term, but just give us a little more of an update on that.
Oh, yeah. The weak-handed people have dropped off the face of the earth, okay? So in terms of even the term Bitcoin being searched on search engines, it's gone down. There's all the people who piled into all these altcoins, they've disappeared. I mean, people move in packs. The 80%ers who just follow, whatever is cool, they're off the grid right now. They've disappeared. So you can see all over the cryptocurrency space, be it on YouTube, Twitter, all sorts of social media, that it is down in terms of numbers of people just involved. But still, with me personally, I'm still traveling all around. I'm going to speak in Los Angeles, then Denver coming up. So that there are still some hardcore people who want to hear about it. But yeah, there are a lot of weak-handed people who were just in it for quick bucks who are now scared off. And I saw this same thing happen on a much smaller scale, though, in 2013, 14, and 15. People, I call them the Bitcoin peakers. There's so many people out there that now are saying 20,000 was peak Bitcoin. It will never return. Just like in 2014, the same type of people were saying Bitcoin's peak was 1,000. It will never return. So those are the people who are talking the loudest right now on social media, the Bitcoin peakers. But they disappear once things get going again. And, technically speaking, we got Lightning Network coming up soon. Bitcoin is as strong as ever. But, again, people move in herds. It went up way too fast to $20,000. But for me, one Bitcoin is still equal to one Bitcoin. I value my wealth in Bitcoin. So I still have as many Bitcoin as I did beforehand, which is great.
Yeah, no, a good point on that. And Bitcoin is still Bitcoin. And, a lot of people, they've talked about the wealth destruction that we've seen in Bitcoin since its peak. But that's so disingenuous because there's been a lot of wealth created on the way up. And it's not a function of Bitcoin's fault that it went up to 20,000 and, corrected downward. That's just the nature of markets. And I know a lot of people that are trying to disparage Bitcoin. They're pointing to that and saying, look, see what Bitcoin did to everybody? And I'm like, that's a function of markets. That's not Bitcoin's fault.
Well, I mean, see what Bitcoin did to everyone. If people bought it a year ago, they've got it's in terms of the dollars, it's worth about 10 times more, or what, 8 times more. That's incredible. That's what it's 8x over the last year. I don't know the exacts, but I mean that's what it's done to people. But again, you're right. It is markets. It is again, people should value their wealth in Bitcoin. That is the transition, and one Bitcoin still equals one Bitcoin. But there are plenty of people who don't see it that way, who now panicked and sold and don't have as much Bitcoin as they once had. And again, they'll learn the hard way that it isn't about trying to get your dollars back. It's about thinking long term, thinking about that 2020 halving that's coming up sooner than later. Again, we're talking about the 2020 halving over a year ago now. Now it's that much closer. But people still, again, the 80%ers out there, they still have that mindset of, oh God, I got to correct my dollar situation here. They don't see it as an opportunity to get more Bitcoin now that the price is down in terms of fiat.
Okay, Adam, I know you're very optimistic on Bitcoin, and I am too, but I want to acknowledge the potential of a bear market, a rough bear market. I'm looking at a chart of 2013, into 2014, and we did see a spike back up that went close to $900 after it crashed down. It corrected big, went $700 or so, and then it went back up to $900. That was like everybody's, oh look, we're back moment. But for it to only get worse for an extended period of time before we obviously had what we had the last year and a half or so. So I mean, can you speak to that, the potential of a severe bear market?
Yeah, because we're in terms of dollar value right now, we're in a bear market. So it could easily become a 2015 situation again, where it slowly trickles down, because it was a high of 1,000. You said it got close again or something. I don't remember all the specifics, but over 2014 to 15, it went slowly down even below $200 eventually, which was there's a big difference from 1,000 to 200. So could we see now today it was up a lot, but again, it could trickle down to below 6,000 again. I don't know. We could be in this. It could last into 2019. I'm not saying it's over yet in terms of fiat being down. And I'm telling people, I'm putting it out there that people have strong hands, that they remember this is a savings account. If you got into a situation where you bought too much Bitcoin, now you're in debt, or you're owing a lot of taxes for whatever reasons, and you got to sell your Bitcoin, you invested too much of your fiat into Bitcoin. You shouldn't have done that. And now you'll learn that, hey, you buy Bitcoin with money that you can afford to lose, basically, okay? Not stuff that you need to function daily, okay? Not you don't use your food money on buying Bitcoin, okay? So with that in mind, yes, this could last into 2019. The price could be playing around the 6,000s, 5,000s, 7,000s, 8,000s. For me, that's fine with me. Again, if people listen to this show with the two of us when we were talking about it when it was under 1,000 or just over 1,000 or under 2,000 or 3,000, they'd be very happy in terms of their returns. And and again, value your wealth in Bitcoin. And since we had our shows, original shows, there have been these crypto dividends. The B Cash has come up, the B Gold has come out. So people should have converted that into Bitcoin too. So there have been opportunities to get free Bitcoin since we've spoken. But again, and there'll still be more crypto dividends coming up. Will they be legitimate and good? Who knows? But yes, this bear market could last into 2019. It could last, to this time in 2019 or even later. It could last to January 1st, 2020. I think as we approach 2020, though, more and more people will start talking about the halving. And it's just like in 2016 when we had a Bitcoin halving. At the start of 2016, people started talking about the halving. They didn't know about it, even though they should have known about it, that it was coming up during the summer. And the price basically doubled from 300 to like 600 leading up to the halving. So I'm not saying that same thing's going to happen again, but I think if we're still in a bear market at the end of 2019, I think the talk of the Bitcoin halving will help quite a bit the fiat price.
Adam, so I want to give you an opportunity here, and this you've been one of the strongest people out there saying be careful with the scams, be careful with these ICO pumps, and I think in this quote unquote bear market environment, this is where a lot of those are going to get exposed, and it's going to really benefit people to be in Bitcoin specifically. And, because that's where a lot of the excess funds or the flight to safety will be. So, I kind of want to give you the platform here to just reiterate that, because I know it's probably been on your mind.
Well, first of all, it's funny, Bitcoin is the big deal, is the big rock that everyone picks. The mainstream media is saying Bitcoin's down, Bitcoin's down. All of the cryptocurrencies are down. Most of them are down much worse. The altcoins are down much worse. So smart people have said, oh, well, I'll get back into Bitcoin now and wait this. I'm not going to wait it out in an ICO token here. Someone did a study, and they said like 80% or 90% of the ICOs were just fake. I mean, they don't deliver anything. I don't know if it's that bad. I mean, I didn't look at all how the guy did his study or whatever. But these ICOs, they had their heyday during the bull market for cryptocurrency. This is definitely not a time to keep your value in these ICOs, because they are being exposed. There are scams that are being, BitConnect was a scam that got exposed right around the time the price of Bitcoin started going down. My policy is people should not look for things to do with their Bitcoin. If someone tells you, well, invest your Bitcoin in this, that's a huge no-no right there. Just hold your Bitcoin. Now is not a time to play in ICOs of all times. I think some people might be tempted because maybe they feel like they're so down in terms of fiat and Bitcoin. Why not take a risk on an ICO now, since these ICOs are cheaper, since the prices have gone down? And don't try to rationalize it. There has been a flight to safety to Bitcoin. The Bitcoin dominance chart has gone up in terms of the market cap of Bitcoin compared to the market cap of the entire cryptocurrency space. Again, never give out your Bitcoin private key. Never keep your Bitcoin on an exchange. These are during a bear market. These rules still apply, everyone. All of the a scammer can still appear during a bear market. So keep your eyes open.
Adam, you mentioned something, and then I forgot what I was thinking at the time. But you were talking about not investing more than you can lose, and I totally understand that mindset. But that's probably because, being a U.S. citizen and, having U.S. dollars, we experience some level of certainty with our conventional system. But, what about the person who's in Venezuela or Argentina who don't necessarily have a stable option out there? Is it the same sort of mentality for them? Are they worried about putting their entire wealth into something like Bitcoin?
Oh, well, this is a great question, because I was just in Argentina, and yesterday one of my contacts on the ground in Venezuela was telling me what was going on there. The hyperinflation in Venezuela is getting out of control. So people now are more than ever are willing to get rid of all of their Venezuelan currency to get into Bitcoin. Okay, so with them, I mean, they have nothing to lose anymore. They're in a situation where there's nothing to lose in Venezuela. Argentina specifically, they're pretty stable right now. They have a government now that has cracked down on they had a horrible fiscal policy. So now the Argentine peso is leveling out. For them, I would tell them, don't invest more than you can lose. But who knows what's going to happen? Your peso isn't the best thing to be holding right now. It isn't the best thing. Diversify. I guess. Try to get some dollars and some Bitcoin, because everyone sees the dollar as less risky than Bitcoin. I'm not going to get in an argument. I'm not going to get in a discussion right now. What's riskier, the dollar or Bitcoin? There's different interpretations. But in a country like Argentina, which has regained stability Argentina is a great country. I really loved my time down there. If any Argentines are listening right now, but they know more than anyone about how the government can change at any time and how the government can confiscate wealth at any time. They have gone through that before. I've got a contact down in Argentina who loves Bitcoin because it is unconfiscatable. So they keep that in mind, and they know that their bank accounts can be confiscated. So that's going to get them on a different trajectory than Americans. And so they will be willing to take more so-called risk and acquire more Bitcoin to balance out the threat of that it could all get confiscated one day. So in America, we have never, most Americans don't think about how the banks could confiscate all the money. They could if they wanted to, but we've just never really experienced something like that on a grand, tremendous level like they have in Argentina.
So, Adam, what happened today? I woke up this morning and Bitcoin price was up $1,000, and it was green across the entire space on CoinMarketCap. Dead cat bounce. What happened? Was there some news that we should be covering?
There was no news. I heard it was like shorts getting wrecked or something like that. And Bitcoin going up $1,000 suddenly. I mean, that reminds us of December. But that's what people always have to keep in mind. It happens. It happens. You don't know, because there are all these people who say, why don't, I'll just sell my Bitcoin now and I'll buy it back for $4,000. Well, because it's going down. But you never know when that day happens, when this happens and it goes up to suddenly $1,000, and it never will go back to 4,000, and you're stuck in fiat. This could be the day where a bunch of people are left stuck in fiat, wondering like, oh my God, why did I convert into fiat? Why was I trying to play this game? Again, that's what I warn people against. It's not that simple. Trading is not that simple. It's not just as simple as like, oh, it's going down, I'll just buy it back when it's cheaper. I should sell now that it's high. First of all, you have to pay, the United States government, if you're speaking about the US, if you're going back and forth from fiat to Bitcoin, and you're doing it from a regulated exchange, like plenty of Americans are, you are on record. The IRS knows exactly what you're doing, and they're going to expect you to pay. And that's why a lot of people are actually selling their Bitcoin, have been selling their Bitcoin leading up to April the 15th, because they're trying to pay their taxes. They owe a lot in taxes because they were traders, and they know. So it's unfortunately it's a bad little cycle if you got into trading. And you have to pay your taxes. Well, now you have to even sell more Bitcoin because you're playing games. So that's just another reason to hold. Because if you hold, you're not going into dollars, and that's not a taxable event, just holding your Bitcoin. So I don't know exactly what happened today, and that's the beauty of it. It happened. There's days like this all the time where you don't know why did it just go up that much? It did go up that much. You got to deal with it, and you held your Bitcoin through it all, and it's great.
Yeah, sometimes the inevitable we're expecting just needs some sort of trigger, and you don't know what sort of trigger that might be. A black swan, for instance, to the upside, and that might be what we're seeing here. Now, I asked this question to Jimmy Song, and I was curious to ask you as well. And that is, Coinbase was a large platform for why many people got involved with Bitcoin, and you talked about it. It's a regulated exchange. It's not exactly the purest altruistic reason we all were attracted to Bitcoin in the first place, but it can probably be credited for why Bitcoin became so popular and really ramped up into 2017. So my question to you is, do you anticipate more conventional platforms popularizing Bitcoin, or do you see it growing from a more outside in, people trying to sidestep the conventional system going forward?
Oh, I see more conventional ones joining on. I see more. There are plenty of investors that want to start businesses that follow every rule that the United States government puts out there, because they see how profitable this can be. They see how Coinbase basically dominates a certain aspect of the Bitcoin market. All the newbies start with Coinbase, okay? So why not try to get in on that? If you're willing to follow all the United States, all of the rules, why not start a competitor to Coinbase? And I think there will be that will be the trend, because most newbies they don't want to deal with wiring their dollars out of the country. They probably can't even do that. And dealing with foreign people are comfortable with very conventional looking traditional websites. There are a lot of people. You said a lot of people didn't get into it for the same reasons that we did that joined up with Coinbase. The reasons that a lot of people got into it originally, that's not why the masses get into it. The masses almost see it as just a bank account, and they don't care if they have to deal with a third party. They don't understand the decentralized aspect of Bitcoin at all. I mean, that's why they're willing to buy Ripple. I mean, Ripple is a totally centralized coin that people were just loving. They're like, oh, this is a great cryptocurrency. And I was just like, it's like totally centralized. It could be shut down at any time. And many people out there, the 80%ers, they just want something that's going up. They just want something that's easy, that the herd is dealing with. So Coinbase does make it easy for people to get on. They to buy Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum and Bcash, and they are the kingmaker right now in terms of if they put another altcoin on there, that altcoin would go to the moon right now. I mean, even during this bear market, it would be huge news if Coinbase added another coin. So they still are a powerful force, and probably others see them as a powerful force and would love to be the next Coinbase. Although, it can be a pain to deal with them, to say the least.
So I guess what do you anticipate the dynamic of Coinbase, or not Coinbase, but Bitcoin being with the regulators, the banks? Is this something that they're going to continue to fight and try to take down? Or is it going to be something that works together with the conventional financial system? Because right now, like Coinbase works symbiotic with the regulators. Everyone seems to be happy with it. Obviously, they're going into a frenzy trying to figure out how they're going to collect everybody's taxes. But going forward, is it going to work together with the current system, or are they going to diverge?
I think it's going to work together with the current system, because the current system is going to see that they're getting a lot of tax money from all the people that dealt with buying and selling on Coinbase, and they're playing by the government rules. I don't see the government fearing Bitcoin yet and doing anything draconian. I think it's working out well for everyone. I don't see it going the other way, where they're going to start letting exchanges not do know your customer and things like that. They're not going to allow new exchanges to pop up that are anonymous in the United States at all. Okay. So, and also there are some exchanges that kind of are on the border, like Poloniex, that just got bought up by Circle, and Circle is owned by what, Goldman Sachs or something like that. So I see on one end that there are some pretty legitimate exchanges out there, but they're not on the same level as following the regulation of Gemini or Coinbase. I see them being bought out by bigger players who will make them more conventional. So this isn't the greatest thing in the world. Well, for Americans at least, I think Americans might not have as many anonymous options as they once did, or less regulated options as they once did. I think some of the big players out there, maybe Bittrex will be purchased by a big player. I wouldn't be surprised, because right now the government can pick on anything on these exchanges like Bittrex and say, you know what, you broke the law there. There's always that threat. They can pull anything out of their butts and say that wasn't legal, and what you did in 2017. They can pick anything. But what they can also do is say, hey, we can do that. We can be very strict with you, or we'll forgive everything, and you can sell out to this bigger player, and you, owner of Bittrex, you get to walk away a multimillionaire, and we'll never pick on you again. And so I see that happening, that some of these exchanges that can be nitpicked with will just give it all up to bigger corporations, and we might see a corporatization of some of these lesser exchanges, which some people aren't going to like very much.
Yeah, you know, I remember being at some of the Bitcoin cryptocurrency conferences and the tax people talking about this. And, you know, there is the aspect of just going fully decentralized, fully anonymous, you know, starting something in the Ukraine. And maybe your market is a few $1 million because, you know, you're not complying with the regulations and the governments. And unfortunately, the U.S. is one of the hardest countries to deal with because there's a level of arrogance here because of the dominance that the U.S. has. And there's a lot of rules to comply and to deal with. But you get access to a lot more capital, and that's why governments or other entities and investors, they go through that hassle is to get access to those investors. So there's going to be the balance of that unless the U.S. loses its dominance in a major way and there's a major crash and it shifts to China and, you know, different parts of the world. Unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lot of compliance to get access to the capital that's here and in the Western world.
Yeah, well, what I was just saying about the consolidation of exchanges, I'm basically talking about Western exchanges that fear the United States government. You know, there will still be people will still create all sorts of things that we can't even predict in the Ukraine or maybe in Africa. Who knows where they're not really dealing with the United States. But the United States has its. If you want to deal with money in the Western world, you're going to have to worry about United States regulations. Now, you said something about United States arrogance in terms of, and obviously the government, the people in the government are very arrogant. But one thing we're going to have to observe here in terms of who uses or who buys Bitcoin the most, because I suspect that there's a tremendous amount of people in the United States buyers make up a very important part of the Bitcoin market. And if we see after April the 15th, the Bitcoin price spike suddenly, that's going to tell you a lot about the situation that, yeah, it was partially being held down by people dealing with paying their United States taxes, okay? So that's going to, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if that does happen, that does show that citizens of the United States play a very big role in the price of Bitcoin. If the price of Bitcoin shoots up after April the 15th, like, I mean, basically on Monday, what is it? Monday, April the 16th, or maybe after, I don't know what the last day is you could pay your taxes this year. I think it might be the 16th or the 17th. You know, it varies a little bit because April 15th is on a Sunday. But if right after that the price spikes up, then yeah, United States citizens play a very big role in it. And I do believe they do, but how big of a role, we'll see.
So what's this summer bullish sentiment that many of the community members are talking about? Many are very optimistic about the summer being a good time for Bitcoin. Are you familiar with this?
I think it's people who feel that the first quarter is usually a down time for Bitcoin, that it'll be all the taxes will be paid after April the 15th. I think that's part of it. There's, you know, the Lightning Network will be more developed by then. I'm sure there's some technically sound reasons. I don't know. I don't buy into that. What's going to happen is going to happen in terms of the price of fiat. One Bitcoin is still one Bitcoin for me. I don't know of anything that really sticks out specifically in the summer, other than it's not the first quarter anymore. It'll be the third quarter by then.
Adam, so again, thanks for coming on Crush the Street. If people want to see you, I mean, you're going to be all over the world here in the next few months. Let everybody know where you're going to be and you know what you're going to be doing, and of course let everyone know about your YouTube channel and anything you got going on.
Okay, in terms of social media, you can just go to disruptmeister.com. That'll take you to my YouTube channel, which is Bitcoin Meister. Bitcoin Meister is also the name of my Steemit channel, I guess. On Twitter, I'm TechBalt, TechBalt. That's huge. Twitter is just so big in the crypto space. I mean, we could do a whole show on that. Now, if you want to see me live, I'll be in Century City in Los Angeles on the 17th of April. And then Denver, we're having an event with multiple people. Andy Hoffman will be there. Vortex will be there. World Crypto Network people will be there in Denver on what is that day? On April the 25th. And yeah, those are the only specific. I'll be in other cities. I don't know. In Portland, I'm going to be in Portland from the 1st of May until the 10th. Maybe we'll do something there. Maybe something in Seattle after that. Definitely Calgary this summer. In July, I will be speaking Calgary. More on that. Just go to disruptmeister.com or follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt, if you want updates on where I'm going to be.
Adam, it's been a pleasure having you on Crush once again. You're always a timely guest, and I feel like this is an important time for people to be paying attention to crypto, especially if they wanted to double down, accelerate their position while we've seen this correction. It might be a time to do that. Obviously in dollar terms, you were certainly buying less crypto in December of 2017 than you are in April of 2018. So very timely. Thanks for coming on Crush.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on. Have a strong hand, everybody, and pound that like button.